Apologies. I have my AC running at the moment. I was 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That's way too hot for you guys in Celsius. Uh, this is the Race Statistics channel. You are listening live on YouTube, Twitch, wherever you may be elsewhere. This is Crash, and I am here giving you coverage for Spanish Practice 1. So, we ain't talking about Monaco, because that was a race, and we're gonna leave that in the past. Um, but and ultimately there is you know the big thing on our agenda right now is that, well, we've got to talk about the new rule changes that are being implemented this weekend. So basically, last year the FI installed cameras on cars looking just specifically at the wings, and this was post Belgian Grand Prix, and they found that they needed better tests. They found that the wings were moving and flexing in ways they really shouldn't be, and they were flexing, but they were flexing under load. And McLaren has been the poster boy because they're the ones who figured it out, and they're the ones everyone complained about. Yada yada yada. Um, just because McLaren were the ones doing it the most, or pointed out for doing it the most, doesn't mean other teams weren't doing it. And so don't put this as a this is supposed to hurt McLaren. It's going to hurt other teams as well. It's just we know more about McLaren's flexiness than other teams. And so you think last year, like, hey, they decided late to year to like implement the rules to make this more stringent, and they basically teams it would have cost teams if they had implemented these rules at the beginning of the year. It would have cost the team. They would have had to thrown out work in manufacturing wings that would have already been made. It would have been costly the teams, and we're in a cost cap era. So the compromise was to put it back to basically this Grand Prix. Basically, let them use what they had for the first third of the season, and then bring this in. What they found is, though, even after putting these rules out, after the first race, FI was like, yeah, the wings are still too flexy, even under the older rules. And so they after China and after for China and for Japan, they've tightened up the rules. Um, yeah, for the front the rear wings, basically the tolerance was 75 millimeters in Japan. China, it was reduced to 50 millimeters. The rules now, I think, now is that, um, and I think that's where we are with the rear wing. With the front wing, basically now the rules have really come into play, where basically when the load is applied on both sides of the wing, they're allowed basically 10 millimeters of flex. It was previously 15. And then the load is applied just on one side of the wing, they're allowed 15 millimeters of flex, where it was 20. And the front flat flat flex can be no more than 3 millimeters. That was 6 millimeters. So they've cut that down five to six to out to three. Yeah, let me get right now. There's another question in the chat I want to get back to. Yeah, Daniel's asking, "Hey team, does anyone know if there's been track layout changes, enhancements made since last year?" Actually, go to the FI decision documents, because that will show up in one of the documents. Uh, it should show up in the race director's notes for the track, and that should be one of the documents. Should be posted already. I'll probably look at that over between FP1 and FP2. I'll be looking at those documents, so I can be more specific in FP2 about that. Grab that question with my notes. Yeah, a lot of notes right now. We've got two rookies that we gotta talk about. So if you look currently on the board, where is it? Number 15 is that's going to be Victor Martins. He's in for Albin. And then number 16 on the board currently is Rio Hirakawa, and he's in for Akon. This would be the third testing for Rio. He basically did an Alpine test early in the year and then moved to Haas, and this is the second. So he's already tested Haas once already in Bierman's car. He's now doing it in the second one in um, Alcon's car. Um, and that's again part of this is part of the the rules that we have is basically now this year basically each car needs a rookie driven in it twice each this year. It was one for each car, so there was two sessions. So this was either a team went with one rookie in both of the cars, or they did two rookies in each of the cars. What else you're going on? Tires this weekend. Yeah, we've gone from the C4, C5, C6 compounds. We've gone to the exact opposite side, C1, C2, C3. So that C1 is the hard compound, the C2 is our medium compound, and C3 is the soft. Oh, what are you guys talking about? Again, if you guys have any questions, again, and you can do this in both in Twitch chat and in YouTube chat. Use at Grashuriza, and I'll drop my name in each of the chats. See that I'm adding myself. If you at me, that will help um, see what you're saying. It'll highlight your tag. Over Twitch chat. There you go. And I will. There you go. I just drop that into Twitch chat for you guys. Are you going to broadcast that? Well, we don't broadcast with live timings mini map commentary, but not the actual um, not the actual video. Double dot. You explaining this without the visual is not helping. It's confusing. If that was about the wings, go to the F1 website. They have an article about the wings. Is where I pulled all my information from, and they've got visuals there. As for basically free practice. We have a map that we'll see where drivers are on the track at any given time, and then we've got basically the timing chart right now. We're about to go green on track. They have lined up. And one of the V cars has an air rake on. That's interesting. Uh, which one is it? So Liam Lawson has what's called an air rake. Basically, it's an array of sensors. Well, I do my best, all that. I mean, I am only human, and at least I pointed you to their article. So let's see. Anyone else have an air rake on their car? It's just right now Liam Lawson at the moment going out with an air rake. So again, what the air rake is basically is an array of sensors, and it's basically um, a grid that's on the side of each of the cars, and they've mounted that on the front half of the car behind the front wheels. So they're looking at the airflow coming off, the front wings and the tires in this case. Pick trying to muscle their way into the pit lane, fast lane, and they're backed up on pit lane as people are coming out right now. Yeah, and Victor Martin's actually the first one out on track right now. Lost in his second. And we've got Stroll, Hulkenberg, Leclerc, Norris, Hamilton, Alonso, Colpino, Gasly, and Borletto. The Haas's have not come out yet. Science has not come out yet. So we got a good number of people on track early on. We won't see any time set for another about minute or so. It'll be another 4 minutes as cars go around. Most of the teams are going out on hard tires. That's interesting. With the exception of Colpino and Stroll, who have gone out on medium tires. So yeah, that one of the things in terms of millimeters, uh, if you think of take a credit card or an ATM card, that's about 1 millimeter thick, and that's what we're talking about. That's how little they're allowed to flex, particularly on the front wings, that front gap of the wings. You got a replay of Lawson going around. He's got the air rig on. He will most likely come into the pits very quickly. I mean, he's done 2 laps right now. He'll probably do maybe one more. There you go. He's done 2 laps. He's coming to the pits. Yeah. Pointing out that Lewis Hamilton's concerned with the Madrid circuit layout. And that's basically in the future. I think I'm not sure if it's next year, but if it's not next year, it's the year after that. We're moving from Barcelona, where we're at right now, to a street circuit in Madrid. I haven't read the article on that just yet. I just know he has concerns. I don't know what exactly those concerns are at the moment. I'll probably find that article between now and FP2. Again, right now we do have Norris has gone to the top of the board with a 116.095, and Oscar's gone a 116.104. That's a 9,000 difference between those two. Oscar having a better sector 1, sector 3 in that case. Alonso is 46 thousandths behind that, and Nelly just jumped up to P4. He's 454 thousandths. Stroll on that medium tire did 474. Gasly is 6. Yet to see times from Science, Verstappen, Isaac, Russell, Rio. Hulkenberg and Borrell did installation laps and came back in. So did Martin came back in as well, and Lawson did three laps. Again, he was on an air rake, so that was to be expected. He's now back out though. Franchi says this race will define the rest of the season. Yeah, this is basically think of that we are now in a new phase of this season. Now that we've got to the rules to where the wings can't flex as much. Clerk is coming out of the pits. He had done 4 laps already. He's on used hards, which is basically they've done made it. Basically, that indicates they've made an adjustment to the car and not changed the tires. Who's driving Alex's car right now? That is Victor Martins. We've got Rio going through the gravel trap. That's not a good sign. Hiragata is in for Esteban Ocon for FP1. Again, these are our 2 FP1 rookies in this session today. Don't worry, Albin and Ocon will be back for FP2. It's just he hasn't come out of the pits yet, Mr. Thick. That's why is he not left? Because he just hasn't come out of the pits, and that's interesting. Again, FP1 is not representative of anything whatsoever. Basically, we got FP2. Basically, is um, where we will see more representative times for quality and for the race. Not a big deal that he's not out already. Yeah, please don't put false information in the chat. I mean, Site's got his opinions out already. That was last year. That's why we saw Bierman on track in his maiden performance with Ferrari. Dark Mile pointing out F1 is about getting set up right, but quick time shows the team is on the ball. Yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at. That's what we're looking for. Alonso top of the board, 115.480. That is 153 thousandths faster than Norris. Hamilton did a P3. He's 531 behind Alonso, but he's splitting Norris and Oscar right now. Stroll is 5th. So we kind of saw in Monaco and we kind of saw in Imola that the Aston Martin had improved. Here now, they're now at top of the board. Now it's early on. We're only 9 minutes into the session. Clark just goes P3. He is 462 thousandths behind Alonso's time right now. And Alonso did this on a hard tire. Where's Albin? Albin is out for FP1 for a rookie. That's Victor Martins. He's currently 16th on the board. And then 15th is where Ocon is. Is Hero is in for Ocon. He's 15th on the board. Isaac goes 9th. He's over a second though off the pace. Verstappen's out there doing a flying lap. He's got a fastest sector 1 already. Proved it in sector 2. He's now starting sector 3. See anyone else who's cooking at the moment? Tsunoda also cooking at the moment. He's on a flying lap. Um, what's the difference? 1/10 difference between those two. Max is going to go P3. Oh, wait. Is that... See a stop signal. Okay, so that's not... That's just a data issue. Instead of finishing that second sector, he does a 30.6. So he's about 4/10 off of Max right now. He's doing that third sector right now. So again, Max did a 23.1 in that third sector. We'll see what Tsunoda does. Comes towards line. Tsunoda goes to 8th, and he does a 23.2. So he lost another 10th there. So that's a 0.762 versus Max's 3.25. That's about a 4/10 difference between the two. That's a big, again, where things stand right now, it's a big difference. Not significant, but still big. I mean, we're talking, um, we were looking at P1 through P20 in Imola, um, in practice was what, one second and a tenth. So Oscar moving up to fourth, getting ahead of both Leclerc and Hamilton. He drops about a tenth off his time. He's did a point. He's 0.332 behind Alonso. Antonelli's eighth right now behind his teammate. About 3/4 of a second behind Russell's time. Norris right now on a flying lap. He's got both fastest first and second sector. Stroll moving up to fifth. He has a 1:15.992, 0.442 behind Alonso's teammate. Borello goes up to 16th. He's 2 seconds, more than 2 seconds off. Here comes Max coming to the line. He's going to pit, so we're not actually going to see what could have been. Norris going to the top of the board. Fastest first and second sector, third sector is an improvement. He does a 1:15.259, which is more than 2/10 faster than Alonso's time. Is Carlos shy? Yeah, that's a good question. Carlos is not coming out of the pits right now. I'm going to have to look if there's anything going on with his car. Mentioned in the live timing. As I do that, I want to thank everyone who's here right now, whether you're on YouTube, Twitch, watching us live on another platform, or watching us on demand. Thank you so much. Look at the commentary. Yeah. Nothing. Nothing mentioned on science right now. If we discuss Monaco, yeah, we're not going to discuss Monaco. Is basically what's going to. Yeah, I mean, looking back, I was trying to like find like what was going on, looking at the alternative strategies, but like it got to the point where like Oscar went on another strategy, and like, okay, he's passing all these other people in front of him, and he lap, people are being lapped. I look at the gap from him to um, Max, or him to, it was mostly him to Max. He was leading, and that gap didn't change, and that was the race. So the last year's pole time was 1:11.383. That was the pole. I'm gonna grab that. Now we're not definitely going to get that here in FP1. It's too warm. The track temperature is a 48.6 degrees. That's pretty well hot. Air temperature 30.4 degrees. Humidity is 35 degrees, 35%, I should say, which is pretty good. No, look, in terms of rain right now, which was pretty funny, Mark. Um, Depends how you want to call it funny. I mean, he basically cut the chicane because he was mad with Albin. That one I saw this random post somewhere. Oh, this is gonna be good on YouTube. Oh boy, it's even better. That Alonso is gonna win with a skull. Russell just did a P5 115.876 lap time. He's more than 6 tenths back from Norris's time. He did again. Norris did a 115.259 on a hard tire. Clerk going P4 15.775. He's over a half of a second behind Norris's time. Am I missing something? What happened to Ocon? He's just out for FP1 B-Tret. And the same for Albon. So Victor Martin is in for Albon. Rio Hirowaga, I'm not pronouncing his name. My apologies. But Rio is in for Ocon. So MAR is Martins and Rio is HIR. Currently, here Rio is 16th and Martins is 18th on the board. Yes, Sainz finally on the coming out. He's on a hard tire. Thanks for pointing that out, Eamon. It's early again. We're only about 18 minutes into the session so far. Again, what 40, 42 and 30 seconds left to go in this session, and we're seeing Aston Martin performing. Alonso second and Stroll is seventh right now. They're currently in the pits after doing a stint out already, but that's interesting. We've got Aston Martin in the mix here right now, um, performing better than Mercedes. Maybe the quick guys have had their wings clipped. No, I mean like Norris is first and Oscar's fifth. I mean they're the best performance right now in terms of board. Max is third, but it's noticed 10th. Clerk is fourth, and Hamilton is eighth. Well, Martin's set a lap time he has. It is well, it's not a representative lap time. Again, he is a rookie. They need to make sure that he's not going to crash the car. But they also need to point out. I want to point out here is that he may not be doing. Uh, I mean, he's trying to get familiar with the car, so he's not pushing the car like a quali lap. So I mean, Martin's down at 20th. I mean that he could stay there the whole session, and that's perfectly fine. And that's what this is. The rookie, he's getting accused, getting himself familiar with the car. Now here are Rio on the other hand is 18th. This is his third for FP1 practice this season. Again, he did a practice with Alpine, then got moved over to Haas. This is the second with Haas. Austin Ellis pointing out the constructors very close, just a few points between third, fourth, and fifth. Yeah, I mean it is. I mean this is the last year in this set of regulations, so this is what you're gonna get. I mean it was crazy. I mean last year of the regulations in the previous set of what we have right now was 2021, and we had that fight between Max and Hamilton. Paul Boo, Max won't go to Merck. Jay saying that Max isn't going anywhere, and not anywhere anytime soon. But it is possible he could leave Red Bull. I mean, we saw Newey leave Red Bull this year. They keep saying maybe it's Aston because Newey's over there. Do they broadcast this on ESPN? Yes, they do. But typically, you'll see it on ESPN Plus. you'll see it. Particularly practice will go on to ESPN2 or the ESPN College channel. So it's not necessarily on the main ESPN channel, but it is on ESPN Plus. Fran Turman to take the second Red seat. That's an F1 your team fantasy going on there. What do we think is better, Lando or Oscar? They're so closely matched. That is a very good question. I mean, right now, I mean, Oscar's leading on Lando. It's a 3 point difference. Now, this is my opinion. This is Grash's opinion, but I think Oscar might have the edge over Lando right now. There's just something about Oscar that he's more calm and collected. He's known to be Mr. The Ice Cube, the new Kimi Räikkönen Iceman. Okay. You've put no. Albin is not getting his appendix removed. Yeah, I'm gonna put you on timeout. Yeah. Please again. We've been told to not put totally bonkers information into chat. Alex is not here in FP1 because Victor Martins is a rookie in his car for this session. Unpopular opinion: Stroll would win in McLaren. That's a very uncommon opinion. Um, and I'm not sure that's true because Stroll has a tendency to not be consistent. It was HAR, MAR, not H, not let me see. Oh, H. So SSS. So I'm not sure which rookie you're referring to. So HIR is Ryo Hirakawa, who is a Japanese driver who is the reserve driver for Haas. He started the year with Alpine. And then MAR is Victor Martins, who is one of the Williams reserve drivers. He's an F2 driver. And he's in for Alex for this session. Again, it's just for this FP1 session. Both of those drivers will be back in their car in next FP2, as long as they don't crash the car. Martin's just moved up to 19th. He did a 1.8. Again, we're gonna bottom of the board with those two, with them being rookies. Is it possible for getting a question from Twitch chat? Is it possible for you to move the column of the age of the tires right next to the actual tires? Maybe. I will see what at Racing Statistics, and not me specifically on that a double dot, because he's the one managing the stream, and I don't actually have access to the how our timing sheet is set up right now. Yeah, no one's pushing right now. Martin's is pushing. He's improving in his times. Oscar was improving. He didn't have a great. He didn't improve in sector 2, but it's not a bad time. It's a 30-second, 30.5. Martin's does a 30 31.035 in Sector 2. Oscar finishes improves in Sector 3, but doesn't improve. Uh, he's 7 thousandths off his best time in that last lap. Martin's going to come across the line. Doesn't improve in Sector 3, but it doesn't improve his time, but not his position, though. How do you get to see the live radio? I have the best F1 TV one, but seems not to find it. We're using a software called Multiviewer, and Multiviewer has a component where they're translating um, those radio messages in real time. So it's not part of the F1 TV plan. But with F1 TV, you do get the driver's dash cams. Yeah, this first practice pretty. Yeah, this is pretty normal. Yeah, Alonso, I think he's starting a new lap. Where is he? I don't know what's going on with Alonso at the moment. He's 1.6 behind already and after sector 1. Is he loaded down? I think Alonso is loaded down with fuel. He may be on a race run. Do you guys see sandbag in free practice as well? Let's no, not necessarily. Not in the way that you think. They're not intentionally weighing down the cars or going slower in FP1 on purpose. Now Alonso right now is almost 4 seconds off the pace in this current lap. And he's on hard tires. That indicates that he's doing a program that's not related to quali. It's more of a race run. And that's it just did a 119 lap. Russell just going to the top of the board with 114.751 lap. He's on a medium tire, fastest second and third sector. Hulkenberg's the first one on track. He just came out on soft tires. So the first one to see. So Stake is putting out a soft tire on Hulkenberg early on in this section. Colpino and Stroll are the only other two who are on medium tires. And that's a half a second gap between Russell and Norris. Antonelli going to P3. He's also on medium tire. He's 6 tenths off his teammate. Now, granted, Norris is out in the pits. So is Max. Leclerc is coming out on a soft tire. That's interesting. So is Oscar. Lawson's last lap was an improvement. He's at P8, 115.909. That's though it's a 1.1 gap to Russell's time. So McLaren not out on track right now. We've got people, first Penguins, trying out soft tires. Imagine a silver podium. That would be crazy right now. I would be happy, if it was Hulkenberg or it was Borla. I mean, Hulkenberg just went to the top of the board. Again, he's on a soft tire. Give that a moment because we've got Max coming on a soft tire, Leclerc coming on a soft tire, Hamilton on a soft tire, and we got Snowda coming out on a soft tire. So those times are gonna tumble pretty quickly now. And Hulkenberg's only 114th behind Russell. We've got just past We've got 29 minutes left to go. So we're already halfway through this session right now. Again, this is the Racing Statistics channels. Again, we're live on Twitch, we're live on YouTube, we are live probably in a couple other places, and then you may be listening to us on demand after the fact. Again, this is Grash here with your free practice one coverage. Been trying to looking at what's been going on. We have surprises. We've seen Alonso near the top of the board. Right now, Mercedes is at the top of the board, though Hulkenberg is P2 on a soft tire, and we're about to see a bunch of runs on soft tires. Is Bierman hibernating? Ooh. Uh, no, he's just he's in the pits right now. He's done 11 laps, which is on the lower side, but it's not it's actually more representative of other teams. Like Oscar's only done 11, Antonelli's done 12, Hulkenberg's done 11, Russell's done 12. So it's not crazy. Max is the fastest first sector. Leclerc has the fastest second sector right now. Max has taken it from Leclerc. He's actually 3/10 faster than him in that first sector. See how Max does. Here comes Leclerc. Leclerc and Hamilton are. Leclerc's going to go to the top of the board, 114.238. Hamilton right now, that is an outlap. Sainz has just jumped to the fourth at 114.966. He's 7/10 off of Leclerc's time. Where's Max? Here comes Max. Norris is coming. Norris right now was on outlap. Max is going to finish. He's going to go to the top of the board with a 114.085. That is 153 thousandths faster than Leclerc. We got Ferrari looking good. We've got Max looking good. We've got Russell looking good. We are going to see track evolution in here in FP1. So as laps are being laid out, track is getting rubbered in. This will improve over the weekend, as I believe we have FP2 and FP3 here this weekend as well. Issue tomorrow and less so into quali, as long as it doesn't rain. Is the big one here. Hamilton jumping to P2 with a 114.096. That is 11 thousandths behind Verstappen, fastest. So Hamilton has the fastest third sector, but Norris right now, cooking right now, fastest first and second sector. He could have fastest third sector right now. He's on, and he goes to the top of the board. It's a 113, first one in the 113s. So 113.718. Purple lap, all sectors. Lawson moves up to 11th, though he's 1.7 behind. The gap from Norris to Verstappen, so P1 to P2, is 0.367. Oscar going up to P5, he's a half a second off of his teammates' time. Again, we're at 25 minutes and 15 seconds left to go in this session. This is FP1 for the Spanish Grand Prix. We are here in Barcelona. It's a track that all of these drivers know very well. I mean, we do have FP2, FP3 here. They have done testing here before as well. So they know a lot of data on this track. So what you guys calling yourself now? The Maxiteers? We do have a strong Max Verstappen fan base here in chat. If you don't like Max, just ignore him, please. Yuki right now P6. And he does, and it's 9/10 off of Max's time on a soft tire. Leclerc has gone into the pits, has come back out. He's back on a new out lap. It's used tire, so it's I guess they haven't changed the tire, changed the wing, changed something else in the car, and sent Leclerc back out. And he could also be on a different program now, as opposed to a fast quality run. Now looking at tire degradation on these softs. Again, the tires this weekend, the hards are the C1 compound, medium is the C2 compound, and the hards is the C3 compound. So the three hardest compounds that we have available to us from Pirelli. Again, last weekend we had the C4, C5, C6, the new C6, the softest compounds. Martin's not fast. Yeah, but he's a rookie. He's a rookie. I mean, it's not about him going fast. It's about getting comfortable and understanding what the car is doing before setting him off to do crazy laps. Because otherwise, you'll end up what happened last year with Antonelli crashing the car. And ultimately, Antonelli is in the car. Basically, that was Hamilton's car. Hamilton, as we speak of him, Hamilton's out on track right now. We got a good number of people. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 11 people on track right now. Borrell moves up to 11th. He's 1.4 behind Norris's time with that last lap. Yeah, this is again, as long as Martin doesn't crash, he's going to be okay. I mean, I've seen a couple rookies come out for practice and crash the car. I've seen that a couple times. People trying to get back into F1 come out and they crash the car right away. That that we that would be the last time I saw that particular driver. Bierman jumping up to P6. He's 8/10th though. 879 thousandths behind Norris. It's a 114.597. I don't think everyone who's watching right now, we got a very good, healthy number. Even for practice, this is a very healthy number for practice over here on YouTube. We're going on Twitch. Twitch is a good wow. A lot of you on Twitch, more than I expected. Again, wherever you are watching, or if you're watching on demand, thank you for selecting us. Again, this is Grash. We're about 20 minutes and 45 seconds left in this session right now. Those over in YouTube, you haven't liked or subscribed, now's a great time to do it. If you subscribe and hit the bell, you'll get notifications when we go live. Those over in Twitch, basically, you'll get notifications if you're set up to get those notifications. And that's something you can do. Where is it? Yeah, it's one of your settings on Twitch that if you can how you get notifications. So again, we're live for every session. So whether it's a free practice or a quali or the sprint race or sprint quali and the race itself, we were actually even live for preseason testing this year, as well as last year before as well. So we're doing it all. Those of you who are been here for a while, if you think you can do better than me, come try. No, I'm actually honest. Like, if you think you can do better than me, I'm cool. Come try. We're looking for more people to help with commentary on the stream. If you're interested, jump into the Discord. Bring up the Discord. Oh, we're both doing it. Yeah, dropped it over in Twitch chat. You can see it in here in YouTube chat. Yeah, come join us over in the Discord. Again, even a lot of people actually stay in the Discord as well. We have a community in Discord community that's very active as well. We talk more than just F1. We do talk about, we were talking a lot about IndyCar this past week. Again, it was uh Indianapolis 500 was this past weekend. So last weekend between Monaco and Indy, we had two of the crown jewels of the motorsports world. Again, the third is the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Switching stat from Inspector Seb, Vettel's the F1's youngest pole sitter. He took the record from Fernando at 2008 Italian Grand Prix. He's also the fastest to get a penalty and a penalty point. He sped out of the pits first time he got an F1 car. What's happened to Oscar after his Imola? His pace is a bit dropped. Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I wouldn't take anything with regarding Monaco into account when you're in terms of pace. Again, he is again half a second off. And again, it is FP1, and these it's like we'll see faster times in FP2. Was a penalty point. So when drivers cause collisions, speed in the penalty, other infractions, they get what basically get a point to their license, and though that point lasts on the license for 12 months. If a driver gets 12 penalty points in a calendar year, then those points go away, but they are basically suspended for the next race. And we saw that last year with K-Mag. What happened to Alex? The same thing that has happened to Ocon. Both of them are out in this session, so that a rookie driver can take their place. And this is part of the rules um, in terms of the sport. Actually, every team has to run a rookie. Now, last year was one time. This year, they have to run a rookie twice. Each car has to run a rookie twice this year. So right now, we're looking at Victor Martins is in for Alex, and Rio Hiroara is in for Ocon. Both of the drivers will be back in FP2 normally. Again, we've got about 15 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. A lot of people in the pits right now. We only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on track right now, and that's to be expected. That can be expected right now. Teams are bringing cars in, making adjustments, doing different things. Excuse me. Leclerc right now on new softs coming on. He's about to do a pit lane start. Thank you guys. Support for me as a commentator in chat. Alex has not been loaned out to a theater company. Oh my god. Uh, I'm leaving that one staying dark because that's so outrageously stupid. Yeah, Victor Martin's it's an F2 driver. If I understand, if I'm I believe I'm correct. He's an F2 driver in the Williams Academy. Rio Hero, I believe he's an older he's a rookie, but he's an older individual. He comes from I want to say it's like MotoGP, but I could be very wrong about that. But ultimately, I know he has experience racing elsewhere. Yeah, well, we can't show the video or the audio of what's going on track, and that's basically it's a copyright issue. We don't have rights to that video. Is it Super Formula Zutron? Yeah, someone correct me. I know he has experience elsewhere. I just can't remember where Rio's experience is at the moment off the top of my head. But honestly, that's why I'm here. I'm trying to give you um, as best information as possible. Also, try and explain things to you that may not necessarily be talked about on, F1 TV. Again, um, did they put Floviz paint on Russell's car? That's just all white. That's interesting. Rio's talking about some bouncing in the car around turn 9, though I think he's the only one who's commented about that in that section. So I'm not sure if it's the car, if it's the track. No, Adam, we're not gonna do that because no, they will notice, Adam. They will absolutely notice if we show video or show audio, and we will get a copyright strike, and it will turn off the. It will shut down the stream, and we've had issues with that in other ways. So we really like our stream. We don't want it shut down. Looking at what you guys are saying in Twitch chat, and what you guys are saying in YouTube chat. Stroll up to 12th right now. He's just over a second behind Norris's time. His teammate has dropped to 13th. It's only a 12,000 difference between those two right now. Both of them on soft tires. Alonso lap was over 2 seconds, so he's either going slow on purpose or he's getting geared up for a fast lap at some point. What's going on, Mercedes? I mean, they were Russell was at top of the board a while ago. Basically, people have come out. I mean, Russell's. I mean, he's done. He hasn't mounted on us softs. Why is Mercer on softs? Strategy, tactics. They're not going to. I mean, there is a philosophy where it's a waste of time to put on softs in FP1 when it's not representative of what you're going to do in the race and quality. We're 10 minutes left to go in this session, so not a big deal that's not a big deal right now that they're only going on soft tires and hard tires. I mean, they were at top of the board for Russell again. Russell was at top of the board for a while. I mean, people have said other times faster. Isaac Bierman on hard tires at the moment, but I know they were on soft at some point. Where's Alex? Same place with Alcon. They're not in their cars this session. They're in Victor Martins and Rio Herwada are in for them. And that's basically per rules. They each team has to run a rookie twice in each car this season. Oh, Red Bull doesn't promote Isaac before he's ready. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think Red Bull's going to make another move with their drivers. The driver at risk really is Lawson, but right now he's outperforming Isaac at the moment, so that's he's getting better. Was Toto Wolff president in the last? Yeah, he was at Imola, and he's the team principal dude. So he was president in the last two races. Why is it hard? I mean, there's several reasons why. I mean, getting data on how the tire is performing, tire integration is a reason to run on the hards. Thoughts on Calipino and Williams and Calipino and Alpine. Um, I mean, with Williams, basically in the first four races, he came out and showed why they needed to replace Logan Sargent, and then the the nightmare of crashes happened in the other. I mean, it's two halves. Right now, Colbino hasn't shown that he has the same pace that he or the speed he had at the beginning of the Williams stint last year. Getting a stop notification for Stroll, I doubt that's the case at the moment. We did have a yellow flag. It's just gone back to green. Do you think there's a rivalry between Norris and Oscar because they act like real nice, but it seems somehow to hate each other? Um, no, no, Adam. It's more. Um, there is a professional rivalry between them. I mean, that's obvious when you've got one P1, the other P2, and they've swapped back and forth in the drivers' championship that way. Um, they are acting. You're looking at the nicety and then are backstabby to each other. That's them both being professional. Has is that going to be the case later in the season? We'll see. I mean, there McLaren has done things for each of the has done things in favor and against each of the drivers in that regard. So, which team will win the most points this weekend? We can choose between Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari. Wow, we're gonna go with Red Bull as the whole team. For those who don't know, for the past three races, when this question has come up, it's been Team Verstappen. I guess it was Sonoda looking better than he has in the past few weeks. I guess we can promote Team Verstappen to Team Red Bull. Um, hmm, I'm gonna go with McLaren. Yeah, so basically 50% think McLaren right now is going to take the most points. 25% is in the Ferrari. Red Bull is 16%, and Mercedes at 7%. 8% now. Well, there's support for Mercedes there. That's interesting. Here, Nelson, last two races they've made Oscar's pit stop slow as heck. Uh, I don't think that's intentional. I don't think you can't. I don't want you to read into that as that the team made the pit stop slow on purpose. That is more accounting something went wrong with his pit stops, and that's a different issue. That's something that can be corrected and should be looked at and corrected by the team. But you are true about that in terms of a trend that Oscar has not had good pit stops. Over 3 seconds, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5 seconds. You guys are talking about McLaren being bought by someone, and I'm curious where you're getting that information, where that's being speculative. Nelson, just shady when it happens to races. Yeah, but you're assuming malice instead of like you're assuming malice when stupidity is the more likely answer. I mean, we last year, um, Bottas had insanely slow pit stops because that was not malice; it was stupidity because when they changed the lug nut on the car, um, they did when they got to actual race conditions, things got messy with the nut and it screwed things up. And that was supposed to improve things ultimately. Right now, yeah, guys, I'm like on stream right now, so like you guys are talking about something I don't know, so I'm asking for help for information while I'm on stream. Again, we got about a minute and 15 seconds left to go. Again, when we get done with this, you'll be brought to the free practice 2 stream here on YouTube. Those of you on Twitch, basically just stay where you are. You'll basically pop back to being live again when we start streaming again for FP2. And it's going to reshore. Why why would he move? Let me ask you a question. You're buying McLaren. Why would you move it to New Zealand when all the facilities are there already in the UK? I have heard of the America's Cup. What? Um, yeah. Anyways, we are coming to an end to this session right now. We will have to pick up this discussion in FP2, guys. Again, Norris has gone to the top of the board. He did 113.781. Max is second. Hamilton and Clerk are third and fourth. Oscar fifth. Lawson is P6, guys. Isaac's P8. Behrman's P7. Stone's P8. Gasly's P10. These are names we have not seen. I mean, we did see Lawson and Behrman. I mean, Lawson and Isaac do well in Monaco. So we did see Stroll do well earlier in the session. We did see Alonso do well better in the session. We saw Hulkenberg at the top of the board earlier in the session. So again, it's still we're at a point right now, not sure what to expect. FP2 will be more informative in terms of where the pecking order may rely. It is 7:30 a.m. in Central Time right now. Let me see. I believe it's about 2.5 hours between now and yeah, it's going to be 2.5 hours before practice two. We should be back in about 2 hours. And I'll be back in about 15 to 10 minutes before the session starts. So, for everyone here on the Racing channel, this has been Crash. This has been our coverage for FP1. We will be back for FP2 in about two hours. Take care, everyone. We'll see you then soon.